The next speaker that I'm going to introduce you to is one of our most treasured and most long-enduring client partners, RS Components, Electro Components PLC. Smarter E-commerce and Electro Components PLC have been in a partnership since 2017, early 2018. We operate the platform for the Google Shopping Global Business for RS Components. It's a significantly scaled up and volume-driven business. It is a truly global business in the sense that it is in every region of the world and obviously multiplies itself into different markets with varying levels of competition and investment. Of course, a clear focus here in Europe would be on the bigger countries, on the larger population countries like France, the United Kingdom, and Germany, Italy, of course, and Spain there too, but many smaller markets and a multiplied and very international team. Now, leading a team like this is somewhat of a real dilemma when you've got a brilliant headquarters, a hugely exciting group of young people and veterans that working from a digital headquarters in London HQ, and you're running a scaled up business like this, which is spending between 40 and 50 million euros per year on PPC, on paid media. You need to really sharpen your tools. You need constant information. You need partners that you can trust, and you need to work with people across the board who really are on the same page when it comes to making those numbers work. And it gives me great pleasure today then to introduce Andrea Rocca, who is the head of paid media for RS Components. He joins us here today from London, and he is somebody that we have really got to know well, and we obviously work with Andrea very closely, but Andrea has always impressed us with his view on data and how data and paid media and PPC work together in a synergistic leverage of performance information, analytical information, and of course, growth-based strategies. So Andrea, very welcome today. Nice to see you with us this morning.
Thank you very much, Mark. Very nice introduction. Thanks.
How are you this morning?
Very good, thanks. And despite the weather, very good.
Absolutely. Have you managed to have a holiday at all this year, Andrea?
Yeah, actually, I had been quite lucky to have the opportunity to go back to my home country, Italy, as well as to France for a month and a half. Actually, working a bit from home and enjoying some sun in Sicily. So overall, I can't complain about that.
That's wonderful. No, I do remember when you went away in July, and I think you chose a good month, July, as opposed to August to do that. So congratulations, good choice. Andrea, it's a real delight to speak to you here. And obviously opening up and letting others come in and meet you and talk, a little bit about what you do at RS Components. Firstly, as head of paid media, Andrea, you obviously have a convergence of tasks and responsibilities and roles. What is your role as the head of paid media? What does it involve at RS Components?
Well, for us, involve coordinating our paid activity across multiple channels, paid search being clearly one and the key one, with Google Shopping playing a key part in it, but also coordinating activity and activating across other channels, mostly display for programmatic as well as paid social. So overall, the team is ensuring that we keep delivering a seamless user experience across all these channels, and that's probably one of the main challenges that we keep facing.
Absolutely. And Andrea, obviously the last 18 months have been an incredible revelation, have they not? I know that a lot of our other clients have started gradually to return to centralized offices where teams can come together, often in a hybrid mode. But what have been the broad experiences for yourself and your team on running a business at this scale and size from a mostly work from home perspective in the last 18 months?
Oh, well, to summarize in 2 words, very challenging, as probably has been for everyone. Here at RS, in a way, we've been kind of in a privileged position, meaning that our business was already strongly based online with a strong digital presence. Therefore, we've been kind of in a good position to deal with the changes that happen. We are a centralized team, so as paid media, we are based in London, but we operate across 30 and plus markets, meaning that we already had in place systems to communicate, and we already had ways of working to deal with stakeholders across the globe. Nevertheless, the last 18 months has been very challenging for everyone. I think that when the pandemic starts, the business, as our business, as many other businesses, had to focus on delivering certain key initiatives for our employee and for our team, mostly ensuring that everything from communication systems to ways of working to meetings were adjusting to this new reality.
Yeah.
And that was great, and we did a very good job at it. And the setup we already had, as I said, that we already had in place before, helped us a lot. I think, though, that our business, as well as many other businesses, are start seeing today the impact that the last 18 months had on people and how this has changed our life. I think that everyone had a lot of time to think. Priorities of people have changes, needs has changes.
Yeah.
And we are now in a situation that we need to ensure to adapt to this, and to ensure that we keep delivering these new new values and new services to our people, meaning solution like working from home and ensuring a hybrid solution, ensuring to focus on the well-being of our team, and ensuring to give enough time for people to rest, and understanding that the impact of the last 8 months had on mental health and our own well-being has been hard.
Yeah.
So the next few months ahead are gonna a lot been focused on ensuring that all this new system is put in place, and we can keep delivering a great experience, not only for our customers, but also for our teams.
Thank you. Yeah, those points really land home, I think, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners today and people who've joined us will probably share, and perhaps we can bring some of this up in the Q&A when we do get to that point. And feel free, anybody, to send questions, if you like, to Andrea on this topic. Again, Andrea is somebody that we've known for a long time, so we've had the chance to see how a centralized team working in a physical space together compares with the situation that Andrea just described, and it's been an enormous revelation to us as well as a partner of ours Components, how that has been handled, and it has been handled extremely well. But of course, as Andrea points to, PPC managers and PPC executives and people working in digital marketing are communication-driven, body language-enabled people, because even though we're working with data, we need the confirmation, we need the affirmation, we need the feedback that working in physical environments gives us. But Andrea, the way you describe it now sounds pretty positive and obviously massively learning-based. So you've described some of the learnings that you've made around how your technology works and supports you, where you need to make adjustments, how you take care of the mental health of your staff. What have you yourself learnt as a leader, and how have you evolved your leadership over this period that we've just been through and are still going through in many ways?
Yeah, I think one of the key learning is that how even more now than ever is important to keep evolving and moving forward. We already knew that being part in the digital world, things move very fast, and in order not to become obsolete, you need to keep evolving with it. Right. That has always been a reality of our industry, but I think that the last 18 months also made understand that things can change even more quickly, and external factor can massively impact the way we work and finally our performance. So the key learning here is to keep ensuring dynamic and agile team structure and ways of working, because we need to be able to keep adjusting to changes.
Right.
So yeah, I think I'm very excited about the next months to come, because many of the initiatives that put in place now, I'm sure that are going to allow us to move even faster in the next few months, not only from a technology and an operational perspective, but also from the type of culture that we want to build. And so yeah, very excited.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And will you yourself and your team be seeing each other more often in the 4 months ahead than the 4 months past, or is that still pretty undecided and wait and see, given that the Delta variant is still quite active in the UK?
Yeah, I think that's we are hoping to start seeing the lights at the end of the tunnel. I think that's
Right.
a feeling commonly shared.
Sure.
We just in the last few days managed to get back as a team and spend some time kind of reuniting.
Great.
I cannot deny it's quite weird at the beginning after not seeing people face to face for almost 18 months
Yes.
is almost a shock, but at the same time is make us all very happy, and we are looking at next few months as an opportunity to start getting back together in a physical environment and start working together again. So very excited.
Super. Thanks, Andrea. That's good news, and I'm hoping we'll be seeing you more as well. Now, Andrea, looking at the role, looking at the head of PPC role that you now do at RS Components, can you tell us as a group a little bit more about some of the other channels that you may not be completely responsible for, but certainly must be accountable with in terms of paid media acquisition? What are the strategies around communicating and doing initiatives with, say, non-PPC channels? Obviously, SEO is an example, but also other paid channels like social. And what is your general overall experience of the integration, data analytics, and the broad view acquisition actions that come from working with other channels? Because I get the sense that moving as a machine forward for acquisition is very much a lateral playing field now, and PPC plays a huge role. It's obviously where most of your spend does go, but certainly it's not always the most important view taken of acquisition from the board level. So could you just give us a little bit of insight into how you do operate with those other teams and those other acquisition units at RS Components?
Yeah, of course. And you say correctly. I mean, I think that is important to see acquisition as a team, as a teamwork that all channels needs to undertake, meaning that PPC is a great channel by itself, SEO as well, but users more and more interact, don't particularly care our team, our structure of how we define our channels. They want to interact with the business in a seamless way. And we need to adapt to this. So meaning that we need to be present across all these different channels and ensuring that the way we reach users online is delivering this experience that that our customers are looking for.
Right.
What does it mean is that in the last few months, years, we did a lot of work to ensure that we operate across all these different channels and that our brand is represented across in a digital way across all these different channels. I think that the way this channel integrate with each other is a challenge for all businesses, and for us as a B2B business, pose even some more specific one.
Gotcha.
If I think back, things like attribution is a key part for everyone at this stage. I think that the old way of seeing things were like only 50% of my market investment work, I just don't know which 50% is not working very well anymore, meaning that we operate in a different environment, and how we need to be in a position to know the benefits that our investment is having on our performance. And here is where attribution play a key part.
Gotcha.
We're doing a lot of work to ensure to have the right level of technology in place to enable us to do this, and also to ensure that we have the right approach and strategy behind to guiding our effort on attribution.
Great.
As I said, attribution probably a challenge for many businesses. Us as a B2B one, we also face some specific one, and the way that we define and reach our audience is one of them. We have a very specific target market that we want to reach. And being able to define them and then to have technology in place to reach them in the right way is one of those areas where we're putting a lot of effort on. From segmenting our audience with data science to being able to have the right technology in place then to reach them online. It is still a work in progress, but it's probably one of the most exciting areas that we're working on.
Sounds excellent. Yeah, that sounds really great. I'd also then, ask you, Andrea, we talk about the B2B marketplace, and we know that that B2C is a smaller part of RS's components as global marketplace. I mean, there's always individuals buying products like electro components, spare parts, but it's mostly about supplying very high-end, very detailed, and very high-tech products through multiple suppliers to smaller businesses around the world, as well as massive businesses around the world. Does the seasonal factor, does Q4 come into play for a global B2B components company, or are there specific trends expected and accounted for? And will this year be different? Do you see the outlook for Q4 being broadly in line with other years, or does Q4 not really feature in the RS components planning strategy?
Very good question, and a very challenging period for us and for all businesses to be able to know what is coming, and super exciting in a way.
Yeah.
Meaning that, as we discussed at the beginning, our life has changed in the way that people deal with work and take holidays and approach also their work has changed. What does it mean is that also market conditions have changed. The typical seasonality trend that you used to experience in the past are not the same anymore, have not been the same for the last year, and we're not expecting to be the same in the months to come. What does it mean is that we're working a lot in ensuring that our forecasting techniques evolve according to that. The way we look at data has to change, and the way we report on these has changed as well. So difficult to say what's the next 2 months are going to look like. For us, generally, the Christmas period is always characterized by a lot of holidays.
Yes.
What this year will look like, we start getting a decent picture about it, looking back at the data and getting our own analysis. But there are still a lot of unknown parts, and that's where the part of being quite agile in the way that we deploy our investments and the way that we are ready to adjust to the trend that we keep seeing in the market is being vital to guarantee our success as a paid media team.
Thank you. No, that's very interesting. And that certainly is the experience that we also see with some of our other partners and clients, especially because the B2C marketplace in the UK itself is quite highly affected this year by logistics, the effects of transport networks, the lack of drivers, and all sorts of issues around that are starting to play out in terms of the way planning and forecasting is done for this particular Q4. So I think when we come back together, hopefully in January and February, we're going to be looking at something quite unique, I think, and it's going to be one of the most unusual Q4 periods we would have ever seen. But it sounds like, the global B2B components distribution and demand business is starting to follow classic economic waves rather than seasonal waves. But we will come back and check with you. So as we move into the last few minutes, Andrea, and thanks again for joining us this morning. What trends do you yourself see in the PPC digital space in 2022? What would you say are your top 2 or 3 trends that you think will be affecting the market the most, and what will all of us working in this field be experiencing? And of course, it's a subjective view, but very curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I think that some of the trends we're going to see are going to be a consequence of the current market condition and what the last 9 months has been, meaning that revenue and top line performance are still going to be a key part of what we do, but efficiency and the impacts that paid activity has on bottom line is going to get more and more importance. Start looking at everything as gross margin, lifetime value, and different way to measure activity and to optimize the activity towards is going to play a key part. And with this view, the business and will start to have new technologies and new ways of working are going to come into place. So everything from the way we pass data, what kind of data we pass towards what kind of data we optimize are going to change. And that's something that everyone will start working towards.
Yes.
Then we know that there are going to be also a lot of changes from a Google perspective in terms of the way they keep approaching their their advertising.
Yes.
Leveraging way more automation. Keywords are still going to be important, but likely less and less over time.
Right.
First-party data are going to be the king, meaning that businesses that have been already started in the last few months, years, to create a data system enabling to have very healthy data lake with very healthy first-party data are the businesses that then are going to be in a great position to succeed in the next few months. Generating keyword and having push to Google is not going to be enough anymore.
Right.
Giving the right type of signal is going to be the most important part. So again, very exciting time ahead, I think.
Very interesting. Yeah, thank you very much, Andrea. Yeah, we look at things in a broadly similar way at smec, and one of the things that we're very interested in, Andrea, and I'd like to hear your view on this, is do we see a world coming soon where information that is being picked up, and when I say information, I mean data points that are arriving at different levels of an e-commerce business, whether it be logistical changes in distribution networks, feed disruptions. As we all know, Google are extremely strict when it comes to products available or out of stock. And, these are matters that have been playing out for years, but increasingly they become much more a part of the centralized health of a business when it comes to supplying e-commerce components and software, components and parts all over the world. Do you see a world coming where the digital acquisition channels, mostly PPC, the bids, the campaigns, the campaign structure, the processes and technology being used, can increasingly be connected to those other parts of the business where operational changes are happening? So do you see that PPC becomes much more integrated into the signaling of business data and is enabled to, in some ways, become responsive to those changes in signals beyond just manual or automated campaign management? Is that something you see coming, or is that something RS Components predicts is coming, or what is your view on that?
Yeah, I think it is coming and is already here in a way. In order to succeed from a paid for our paid strategy to succeed, we need to ensure that we have the right level of insight and we deliver the right signal to our activity. Everything from, as I mentioned, understanding what is the margin of your activity, what is the level of stock that you expect to be available, being able to forecast and foresee seasonality trend for different type of products to be able to push them in the right moment rather than not, are all strategies that needs to be in place in order to succeed. Not only because these are some of the signal that Google will use and will enforce in the future, but also because, as I said, there is more and more, there is the philosophy that we need to do more with less. So in order to be able to do this, optimizing our activity with this level of signal is going to be vital.
Great. Yeah, makes total sense. And I think with your business at Electro Components, RS Components, handling feeds that are in excess of 500,000 to 600,000 unique individual SKUs, obviously coming from a multiplicity of suppliers. The changes that are occurring in just a minute basis are significant, and probably more than we've seen in many other of our partners, probably the most. And I get the sense that distribution systems, logistical systems, global partnership systems are going to be critical in the years ahead. And I already see that RS Components is making investment into the technologies that are going to drive that. So coming back to where you are in paid media and your team is in paid media, it seems like you're anticipating almost revolutionary change in the way that you execute your targets and your strategies over the years ahead. So Andrea, we're going to come back to you and hopefully bring you back here, check back on these things in about probably about 6 months, find out how things have gone over Q4. As we conclude this talk, Andrea, what would you like to say about your own evolution as a person working in a role like this? How do you want to take the next step of your digital senior leadership into into the future, and what would you like to most be known for in your company?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I had an incredible journey so far in RS, joining 5 years ago and moving across multiple positions throughout these 5 years, working across different regions and getting to know some amazing people and some amazing leaders, many of which have and keep inspiring me nowadays, also if not necessarily we still work together. And I think my ambition is still going to be to ensure to be in the best leader as possible, to ensure the success of the company, most importantly the well-being and the happiness of my team. An happy team is the key to deliver success, and ensuring that they are that we create the best environment for them to thrive is clearly going to be my ambition for the future. Always been inspired by great people, so I want to be in a position to inspire as well.
Thanks very much, Andrea. That's an awesome goal and a great insight. Thank you very much. And anybody listening today and hearing what Andrea said, I hope that those words are taken to heart, because we speak a lot about this with our partners too, and we often talk about these issues with RS Components and others. Motivating your staff, making sure that people are up to date with what's going on, being compassionate, being kind, pushing performance where people have that gap, but also being aware of the fact that people are dealing with multiple issues now, and life has never been more complex when it comes to bringing your A game to digital marketing. But at the same time, the technologies and the types of companies that people are choosing to work for are critical now. Culture is important, technology is important, and of course, we have a great opportunity in the years ahead to bring together the learnings we've made in this last pandemic period. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us. It really has been a great pleasure to speak to you today.